All right, it's going to be busy. It is going to be busy. Okay, so hang on. I am not Longshore. Hang on just a second. I'm not me on Twitter. So edit name and title. Hang on. I don't have a title. I don't need a title. So there we go. That's me. And this is me. Hi. All right. So here's the deal. Opening kickoff is going to be coming from Meadowcreek here in a second, and we're going to catch up with Coach Jose Rodriguez and find out what's going on with him. Here's the rundown for today, and it's kind of crazy and chaotic, but that's why we love this time of year. We're going to go to Meadowcreek coming up here in a second. And he will be opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Then after that, it'll be looking at Walton boys. Bruce Wade's going to join us about 9:30. Then after that, we might dive into the UPSL, let you know what's going on there because of the relationship SDH has with the UPSL. 10 o'clock, Dylan Butler is going to join us. It's going to have to be on the hop because we've added Lauren Jones from Model. She's going to be joining us at 10:20. And then the head coach at Armuchee is going to be joining us. And it's going to be fun to catch up with Jason Park and find out what's going on there at 10:45. And then we've got news and notes and things left unsaid that we're going to be getting into for the remainder of the program because we got news involving rule changes with the NCAA, salaries with the Major League Soccer Players Association, which we'll kind of get into with Dylan because we've got games tonight to preview in Major League Soccer. Racing Louisville is looking for some partners to help out in the ownership group department. Anthony Gordon looks like he's agreed to terms to go play someplace else, not named Newcastle. Sorry, Alex. Michael Carrick looks like he is close to signing the deal with Manchester United in the biggest no duh ever. And it looks like we might have a longer World Cup halftime for the finale in the Meadowlands. I'm not shocked about that. And Chicago Fire fans, or at least Joe Mansueto, the owner of Chicago Fire, might be loving it because of the new sponsor of his building in the 78. That's just this morning. We've got Red Clay at noon. Jason Galt's going to join us from West Forsyth. Jason Page is going to join us from Walton. Kelly Bowler is going to join us from Johns Creek. Ben Parker is going to join us from Savannah Arts Academy. And there is so much here that I might have to do a power hour this afternoon. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Michael. I might have to do a power hour before we go into the high school championships on the NFHS network tonight at 5 and 7:30, if my math is correct. So, yes, Tuesday at 5, those are done. So we'll talk about those. Tuesday. Those go over here, which means we're into Wednesday, which means we're that much closer to what's going on Thursday. And that means that a full-time staff of 6, and I did not know this, a full-time staff of 6 is prepping for the late game on Thursday. And we go to Meadowcreek and find out what's going on with Coach Rodriguez. Coach, what is up? I know the camera's acting up, but that's perfectly fine. Can you hear me?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So we'll go this way. We are fine. As much as I would love to see your smiling face in the morning, because I know that you are prepping for everything. I can't thank you enough for hopping on because I know that this is the time of day when you can do it. Thank you for coming back by. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. I'm trying to figure out this camera, but we'll roll with it.
There's got to be like a slide rule, like on the top of because on my laptop when I have it, above the camera lens, there's like a little slide bar, and it triggers that particular thing. So
there you go. Look at
that.
All
right. There it is.
Look at that.
So Jose Rodriguez, head coach of Meadowcreek, he's hanging out with us. I wanted to ask specifically about the ride to get us here. What has it been like for you to get to this particular point of the season where you are playing for a championship in 6A?
Man, it's been we talked last time after Peachtree Ridge game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was that was a great week of just learning experience for us as a staff and the players, but It's been, I would say, the ride to get to here. It's been a 5-year process. It really has been. Since day one, being here at Meadowcreek, identifying things we needed to fix, areas we need to fill in, things we needed to continue to grow. That was already beautiful here at the school and our program. But this season, man, it's been a phenomenal season. To get to this point, I think has just been, for us, the external perspective that people get to see a lot of our work coming to fruition. We are of the mentality that we are continuously winning every day just because we're improving in the building. So for us, that's where the big ones are coming, and that's a little bit more internal as personal. So to get to this, so to people see the work these boys have put in, it's been fun, and it hasn't been easy, man. We have to play a Tequila, who is, I gotta give Coach right his credit, man. Tequila was, we still think Tequila was one of the best teams we played this season. I mean, just well balanced all around. They completely took us out of our game. We had to adjust, but we were able to manage that win. And then we had to go to Lambert. Never an easy task. Won that game in PKs, and then we had to travel all the way to Carrollton, another top team in the state of Georgia, for the second time this season, and we managed to win, right? So in a span of 1 week, we played two of the top teams in the state of Georgia, and Lambert, rightfully so at that time, was ranked in the top 5 in the nation. So not easy whatsoever. So for us to go play Walton, that's kind of the expectation we've had. We want to be the best team this year, and we have to beat the best teams, and Walton is that team for us.
Yeah, quoting one of the great orators of this or any other era, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and
that's right.
That's where you're heading. When you get into PKs, and I'm going to work forward here a little bit, because
Sure.
PKs have come up as a bit of a topic here this week with coaches as they prep for finals.
Sure.
When you are setting your 5, we'll start there. Are you looking at folks in the eye? Do you have your 5 already set? Are they confident enough in their 5? Do they set the order? I've seen coaches sit there and say, I want my heavyweights at 1 and 2. I want my heavyweights at 2 and 3 in case the first one goes haywire, because 2 and 3 can get a little nutty. I've had one coach tell me, I want my heavyweights at 1, 4, and 5. How do you orchestrate PKs?
Yeah, that's PKs. I have to give my one of our coaches props on that. Coach Ron Kaye. Coach Ron Kaye came to us from Discovery. He was there when Discovery won region title in 2018 or 19, I believe, or 2021. He rightfully so should have been the next head coach there, but he's with us now as one of our varsity assistants, and it is his philosophy that PKs should be something that you train every single day. So we train PKs every single day, and we have our lineup set. We've had our lineup set since February. And so it is, when we get to PKs, there is no looking at papers. There's no looking at, each other, who we're going to set, who's going first, who's going last. We know the setup. We know who's going first. We know who's going last. We know where each PK taker's putting that PK, that ball, just because they do it every single day in practice. So those boys, every time after practice is done, right after we finish all of our whole session, they stay, and each one takes 5 shots. And they can't go home until they finish it. So, and it's worked. It's worked for us. It's extremely beneficial to know that when they go and take PK, this is not the first PK they've taken in the last month. This is probably you got 4 practices a week, 5 each. That's the 30th one, probably, the 20th one. So it's just repetition for us.
And if somebody busts out a Panenka, what's the common thought?
Okay, so I got to tell you this, man. So Lambert PK shootout was a phenomenal shootout. Our keeper saved 2 of them and saved one of the kickers. He saved him twice because he got called off the line too early. So he went back and saved the shot again. But we get to the 3rd PK taker, and we know where he typically puts it at, and it is it's like clockwork. And he decides to do something completely different, and I lose my head when I see him do that. We don't want to micromanage the boys, but there's certain routines that we don't want to break. And this special young man who I love very much decided to do something different. And the most frustrating part was that the next PK taker, the fourth one, was upset with him because he said, "You took my idea. I was going to do
Oh,
that."
oh.
So they were deviating from the plan, but I think their confidence at the PK spot, it's so immense that they know that ball is going to the back of the net.
Okay, I just wanted to ask because this the way that this sounds as locked in as it is, it literally is, okay, so I know what you're doing and everything, then this is the plan. It is in a hermetically sealed envelope that is sealed, and
Right.
everybody knows it when you open it up in April. That's when someone goes off board. That's why I wanted to ask if something like that goes down. Obviously, I saw the pictures on the bus, saw the video on the bus coming back from Carrollton. What did you learn about yourself in that one, which was yet another one goal match for a win?
Yeah, we the playoffs have been interesting for us. I'll get to Carrollton here in a second. They've been interesting, but for us just because we are a high power scoring team.
Mhm.
Last year in the region we averaged 4 goals per region. And, we're playing Parkview, Brookwood, Duluth, Peachtree Ridge, Norcross, and this year, we were around that 2 to 3 goals average as well. But what we've learned against Carrollton and Tequila and Lambert is that we are just as good offensively as we are defensively. Um, and I know that cliche is so overused, but defense wins you championships, and it's proven true to this point. We can score as much as we want. I think we've taken the gas off of scoring, not because we're terrified to get counter or anything like that, but because we know that we can spend more energy and time defending as well. But I do believe when the time comes, it's we can crack it open and score multiple goals. But the Carrollton match was a tough match. It was without a doubt one of the toughest matches we had. We played them at the beginning of the season, towards the end of February. It was supposed to be a home game. It's supposed to be senior night for us. Things changed, so we ended up canceling senior night, canceling the Friday game, and we traveled to them on Saturday. We had a couple kids show up late because on Saturday they had a rodeo that they were attending. So, they were late to that. And, we did not play our best. We kept them 0-0 against Carrollton that first game, lost them in PK shootout. And it was actually funny because as we were walking off, I remember telling one of my assistants, Coach Carmona, I said, that gave me Final Four feels, that match. So lo and behold, we play them in the Final Four. But this time, we came back. We've done an excellent job of managing these boys' minds. It's not a revenge mentality.
Mhm.
It is not us against the world. I'm huge with the idea that emotions and excitement and big speeches can only get you so far. At the end of the day, you have to have, a concrete plan. You have to execute the plan. You have to have the players to do that. You have to have a deep bench in the playoffs. If you don't have a deep bench, it's going to be a struggle for you. So going into Carrollton, the game plan was simple. We're going to play our game, but at the same time, we're going to be a defensive team when needed. And if it means we get punched in the mouth for a couple minutes, then we take it. But then we revamp it again offensively, and we did. So Carrollton was a phenomenal team. I got to give their coach props. What he was able to do this season was just incredible. I mean, I think a lot of people look at that West Georgia, South Georgia soccer in Georgia, and they downplay it.
Mhm.
You're not in the Metro Atlanta area, but to get into the playoffs, to get to the Final Four, it's not luck. They had to be. I think they played. Who was it? Alpharetta, who's a great team. They beat Harrison. They beat Peachtree Ridge,
Mhm.
and then they have to face us, which that's no easy task. So it was a great match. We were super excited to win it. And I think the boys were extremely composed, and I think it only helped us to realize that the ceiling for this team, we're not there yet. I don't think we've peaked yet, and I'm hoping we peak on this Thursday.
Yeah, Scott New has done some great things out there in Carrollton.
He has.
He just hit a milestone win. I think it's 200. I think that he hit
Yep.
that this season. What has study hall been like getting ready for Walton?
It's been good. We've been really blessed with the amount of film that we have.
How far
We've
back
been
do you go?
studying it. What's that?
How far back do you go? Do you go back to 1884 or what do you do?
So I'll give you a little bit of behind the curtain kind of peek. So because of my coaching background in college,
Hmm.
you know, we do an excellent job of breaking down the film. So that's something we always, you know, hyper fixate on. It's, you know, the defensive structure, the key players, offensive structure. The biggest piece for us is transitional moments. How can we defend better? How can we expose a transitional moment offensively? We want to keep an eye on the keeper. How does he respond to long balls, short balls, long range shots, combination play, cutback passes? Once we identify that, we continue to watch film until we really feel a groove for it. I think any team, you know, you look at any team the first time on film and you can think they're probably one of the best teams in the world. But then you consistently watch with the keen eye, you start to find tendencies and deficiencies, and you know, begin to create a game plan around that. One of the things I love to do is I just love to start study the culture of where this school is coming from. You know, what's the demographics like? What areas are they coming from? Is it a wealthy area? Is it an affluent area? And I think all those pieces come into play whenever you play a team like this, because you have a good idea as to where the mentality of those players are at. You know, we're a working class family here. We're an immigrant rich family here.
Hmm.
You know, for us, the struggles that we go through might be different than the struggles that people from Walton go through. So to know where our life experiences are at and our struggles are at, I think it gives us a better perspective as to how do we push, right? What buttons do we push this week at training? How high is our humor at training? How low is it? How is our energy? How is not our energy? You know, what can we use to motivate the players to, you know, hyper focus them coming Thursday? So I believe we're prepped, man. Walton's a good team. They're a phenomenal team. You know, and I think the one of the biggest pieces that they have is that longevity as a head coach. He's been there for such a long time. He knows the game. He knows playoffs. He knows state championships, and that's something that we have to respect, and we have the utmost respect for them. So, you know, coming Thursday, it's going to be a fight where we know we're coming in and we're going to give it our best, and you know, we obviously feel like we're going to come out top.
I find it interesting that you and the staff spend as much time on the off the field intangibles and sociology than you do when it comes to the X's and O's. When did you go down that road and sit there and say, I know I've got the football part, the on the field part squared away. I want to look and see what makes them tick. Where did that come through in your DNA, and how did you come across that idea as to fill out this whole picture?
So really that just comes from, I think, just the years of doing this. And I think a combination of, you know, of me being a Hispanic coach, Latino coach here at our school.
Hmm.
There's been situations, unfortunately, where we've been at, and this is no shot at Walton whatsoever.
Yeah.
We've just been in situations before where we go and we travel, we play against schools, and we've been presented with, I would say, situations that have nothing to do with the game.
Yeah.
You know, words being thrown at the boys. And so, you know, for us, it's important to understand where we're going into and who we're playing against. You know, and not just from that perspective, but also to, you know, I just think in general, boys have this tendency of looking at players from specific locations and thinking they are the best or better than them just simply because of where they live or
Hmm.
who they are or how they play. Um, you know, we learned this when we played Johnson about 3 years ago. They were number one in the nation at that point. They came to our place. We tied them. And, you know, that whole week, the preparation was the field tactical aspect. But what we learned throughout that week as well was we have to invest just as much as a psychological preparation as well. And for us, what we did was we studied Johnson and we told them, look, you're playing Johnson High School. They look just like you. They live in a community just like you. They are a great program, but you're just as good as they are, right? So with Walton, it's the same approach. Walton lives in a very affluent area. It's not like our area. You know, the struggles they go through are different than the struggles we go through. But they still play the game. They still love the game. They're going to give it their absolute best. They're fighting for a community as well. We're fighting for our community as well to make this work. So it's become an integral piece to it. You know, we don't really necessarily go too deep with the boys with this. It's more for us and how to manage the situation. So if something presents itself during the game, we know exactly how to control it, what words to say to kind of cool the boys off, or to motivate the boys and get that little bit of extra ounce of attention out of them.
What concerns you the most about this match, and what are you the most confident about in this match on Thursday night?
Oh man, concerns. That's such a crazy question. Concerns, I would have to say, Walton's complete. They're a complete team. And hopefully he can say the same thing about us. Their keeper, their marking backs, their center backs, their midfielders are great, and their attackers are great. So it's the most complete team we've seen. It's the most composed team we've seen. They are probably one of the only teams we've seen that really look to be patient with the ball and build with the ball. It matches our style a lot, so it's going to be a clash of very similar play. They have some lethal forwards, some pacey forwards that really love to just get behind that ball and in front of the ball and just try to get some goals on you. But for us, I know what we have for us, man. It's this is the external aspect of it is we have a huge fan base coming.
Mm-hmm.
This is something monumental for our school. I'm so blessed to be able to be part of this and to be able to be charging this with our coaches. But I did an interview yesterday, and I think I want to say it again. This state championship game for us, it's more than just a state championship. We're not going there just to fight and win for a trophy or first place in the state of Georgia or et cetera. It's a moment in Meadowcreek history where we can say that we're doing this again, second time for the boys soccer program. It's a momentum shifter for our community. It's something that our community can rally around, especially with the way that people look at our school, and we're just excited to have this opportunity. So that's been a point of conversation with the boys the whole time. It's not about playing for the match. If you're just playing to win, the pressure is too big. You got to play to win, but you're playing to win for someone else. So who are you playing to win? And up until this point, I've allowed them to choose who we're playing for. But now it's like, I've told them you're playing for Meadowcreek Cluster. You're playing for Gwinnett County to bring a state championship back to Gwinnett County. I believe Gwinnett County is a powerhouse in soccer. It's unfortunate that all of us compete in the same classification, so it makes it difficult to crown just one. But this is for Gwinnett County to bring that trophy back and put our stamp back into Georgia and say, hey, don't forget about Gwinnett County. We've been a little bit sleepy here the last couple of years, but we're back at it again, and we're playing for something bigger than just a Thursday night trophy.
All right, so let me see if I can get the technology to function here, since it is the bottom of the hour. And Bruce Wade, the head coach of Walton, was in the on-deck circle. So it is Coach Wade and Coach Rodriguez, and of course, it looks like Bruce's stuff froze on me. So yeah, hang on just a second. So it is moody at best sometimes with phones in these environments. Hey, Bruce, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I know phones in these situations are a little moody sometimes. So, but I've got Coach Rodriguez here. I've got you here. So the rules are, Coach Rodriguez, since you were leaving,
you
need to have a question for Coach Wade, and then you can go.
Oh man, great to meet you, Coach Wade. By the way.
And of course, he froze and dumped out. So of course, yeah, it's one of those. It's going to be one of these. It's going to be one of these situations. So.
Same, Coach.
Yeah.
One question. You put me on the spot there, so I'm probably not going to be the best question. What are you looking forward to most for Thursday night's game?
Okay, so we will get when he dials back in. So hang on. Here we go. All right. It's firewalls and servers, Bruce. It's literally that's what it is. So
just email me, Coach.
Coach Rodriguez just wanted. Yeah. Literally, he just wanted to know what you're looking forward to the most about the match on Thursday night. Oh, nuts. This is what happens. All right, so let me minimize things. Jose, great to see you. We'll catch up soon. Thanks for being a great sport.
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Okay, so We'll work on technology. Jose, thanks for dropping by, my friend. It's great to see you. We'll catch up. Maddie and Jason will have the call on Thursday night. We'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, man.
All right, there goes Jose Rodriguez. And I will ask Coach Wade the question. Can you hear me now? I feel like that commercial that we had on TV and stuff. Coach Wade, you got your ears on. Like I said, sometimes firewalls are a little moody in these kinds of things, and so we'll trust me, firewalls are definitely moody. So let me see what we got here. You got your ears on, Bruce?
Let me try from my laptop, Coach.
Yeah, there we go. That'll work. Let's try from the laptop. I like that idea. So let's go there because sometimes it gets a little out of control. So yeah, the way that firewalls and school systems work, literally the firewalls, and that's why we have not been able to catch up with Philip Thomas from River Ridge, is because the firewalls will sit there. They'll look at our website, that is our main head end for these kinds of things, and it will go, no, that's a firewall. No, we're going to put up our firewall. You can't talk to it. So literally, we've been trying to catch up with Philip Thomas for like a week and a half, trying to figure out practice, after practice, before practice, all these kinds of things. And firewalls will sit there in school systems and they'll wave their finger kind of like Dikembe Mutombo, and they'll go, no. And so it's trying to figure out how to dial things up. And what I also forgot to do was tell folks in certain situations that you log in on certain browsers. If you've got an iPhone, you log in on this browser. If you've got an Android phone like me, it's a different browser. So like literally, if it's iOS, you have to log in this way. If it's Android, you have to log in this way. So that's kind of what we're staring at here with coaches sometimes who are graciously spending their time with us and breaking everything down. And I have learned more about technology in this system than I care to admit. There's Bruce. How you doing? Okay, I see you. And trying to I can't hear you yet. So I can see you, which is good. Can't hear you. So there's a let's see, where's the audio switch? Okay, so microphone is muted. And yeah, so it's got to be an internal setting someplace here where, and it audio asking me in technology. I was going to say, where's Paige? He's coming on at 12:30. And but there should be an audio setting in there having to do with microphones or just net sound or what have you, and we'll get you squared away. Okay, here we go. Aha! I hear you.
Thank you.
There it
One
is.
of my
Got it.
one of my peers that's better with technology, she helped me out.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm glad we're able to do this, and thank you for doing this on the hop and on the laptop. The question from Coach Rodriguez was basically, what are you looking forward to the most about this matchup on Thursday night?
I think it's just going to be a great game of individuals that know how to play the match, and it's going to be creative at times, and it's probably going to be ebbs and flows of the game where they control it and where we control it, and it's just going to be a chess match between the two teams.
Where did the blonde come from, sir?
It's my natural color.
You and me both, brother.
No, my boys did it, and they were encouraging me, and I told them if we won the first playoff game, I'd do it, but if we didn't win that, I wasn't going to bother.
Okay, so you knocked off Osborne, and so that was a Cobb County win there, or Cobb County, so you get that one. You knock off North Forsyth. You go to Buford, you beat Buford, and then Collins Hill comes to you. What has this ride to the postseason been like for the team here in 26?
It's been exhilarating in the fact that we've played some great soccer at times. We don't have a lot of great individuals, but I think we're fairly strong as a team, moving the ball, playing together, and they've bought into the process of how we want to play and getting a lot of people involved in the attack. And our defense has, I think, maybe 9 shutouts this season, which they've been very proud of. 16
goals allowed in 20 matches. I think that's a goals against of 0.8. You're having me do math early on a Wednesday morning, and I was never very good at math. But When you have a defense like this, you mentioned the 9 clean sheets. What does it say about what they can do, and that allows the offense to do on the flip side of things, where you're averaging about 3 goals a game so far this season?
That allows us to keep our numbers going forward, that they've been so solid in the back, and it gives you a sense of security that we're not going to leak very many goals. And so, it's a little bit more free flowing where we can get numbers forward.
Right now, depending on the poll, number 2 in Georgia, number 2 in the country when it comes to the sport. What I like to do, especially during playoff runs, is I'll ask about losses. And so I want to go back to the back-to-backer where you lose 4-3 at Dalton, as it's listed, and then you lose at Lassiter 2-0. What did you learn about yourself in those back-to-back losses that were 5 days apart that you were able to carry forward?
Dalton was a great match. It was 4-3. They scored with 40 seconds left in the match, and it was over February break. And I was able to play some kids that might not have gotten a lot of playing time because we were missing some and we had some injuries. And it just showed some character within the boys. Lassiter came in and they had a player that scored 2 on us. So obviously we started to learn that we have to be accountable for missing, for players and not letting them run free, and identifying their top players right from the beginning.
And then Pebblebrook went north of 80 minutes there. What'd you learn about yourself? Almost 2 months ago.
Yeah. We went down 2-0 in that match, and we came back, fought our way back to 2-2. And once again, it was the character of the makeup of our senior class that we weren't going to just sit there and let them keep scoring on us and beat us, and we're going to fight till, the final whistle.
When you look at this roster, someone's going to wander into Duluth High School for the first time and see you take on Meadowcreek late on the nightcap on Thursday. Who are some of those folks that on your roster that those who are sitting in the stands are going to naturally gravitate toward and sit there and go, okay, I've got to follow this individual for this 80 minutes? Who are some of those standouts for you this season?
I can't give you that information. That's for them to figure out. It's not hard. You can start to sort it out. But in all honesty, we're pretty balanced across the lineup with some talented kids. So one kid will do something really well, and the next kid might look just average, and then 5 minutes later, he's pulling something out that I'm like, okay, that was good.
So then let me ask it this way. With this group of seniors that you have, when I mention the senior class to you and what they've meant to this program and its successes, what sticks in your mind about this senior class?
Well, last year as juniors, we had a lot of bumps in the road, and I think it taught them a lot about themselves. And they came in wanting to have a stellar year and leave their, legacy as a senior class better than what it was last year. And they've done that. And as a group of boys, they enjoy being around each other. They enjoy training. Sometimes I have to kick them off the field at the end of training because we have other teams coming on and they want to keep playing.
Seen that.
And, it's a great problem to have.
I'm counting the number of seniors here, and I've got a dozen. Does that sound right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Man,
senior night was tough.
That's well, and and then you combine that with the fact that you've got 11 different goal scorers. You've got 2 double-digit guys at the top of the ladder, but you've also got 11 different goal scorers. And I think that with you averaging 3 a match on average, or just close to it, I think it speaks to having to account for a lot of different folks on any given match day, where it can't be, it's like, okay, the positional gravity goes to those 2 double-digit guys, but then you've got 9 other guys that have put the ball in the net this season. So you can't just sit there and account for the big 2. You've got to keep an eye on everybody else.
Right. That's been, as we started playing and scoring goals, I started looking at it thinking, we don't have one player that's going to carry us through a match. We've got 5 or 6 that can contribute at any time and make runs in the box and have simple tap-ins or hit a shot that they haven't hit yet during the season and score a nice goal.
When it comes to storylines and cool facts, who's going to the next level? Is anybody going to go play at the next level? Is anybody being looked at? What are folks looking at off the field from you this season?
Alex Cook is going to go to Emmanuel College and play up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple others that could go, but they just want to go to schools and be students and enjoy the college life. And for them, this will be their last competitive match as far as something really serious.
When it comes to this match in particular, what are you the most confident about going in against Meadowcreek, and what concerns you going into this matchup against Meadowcreek?
The confidence in our character that whatever happens, we're going to stick to the process and keep playing. They're a very talented team. They're very good at coming forward, and we just have to try to contain them and not let them get behind us too much because they can punish you.
Mm-hmm. And when you're studying an opponent for the last game of the year, how far back into the Wayback Machine do you go? Do you go back into, a couple of seasons? Do you just focus on this season because this is what that roster is? Do you look for tendencies in more than 1 year? How far back do you go? How do you analyze?
Pretty much just this year because players change quite, radically. Like if you looked at our team last year, I'd like for you to do that. It'd be okay. And not that we didn't play some good soccer at times, the consistency wasn't there.
Right.
So I look at their last couple games, and then I'll go back to various games where it looked like it might have been a tough one, or they might have had trouble with somebody, and see what the tendencies were, and see what they do well, and see what we could possibly exploit.
Okay. And this is, I guess, my poll question that I've had during the postseason. Because of all the matches that do not include you, PKs has been a topic that has come up. And when it comes to, yes, proper hydration, we believe in proper hydration while you're guesting. That's always good. When it comes to PKs, do you have a set 5 to start? Do you look in their eyes in a huddle and then come up with your 5? Because I've had folks that will sit there and say, I want my big guns at 1 and 2. I want my big guns at 2 and 3 because it could get a little squirrely in the middle. I've had coaches tell me I want my big guns at 1, 4, and 5. How do you address PKs on a game-by-game basis?
Well, we all train on them. And so a lot of times it's going to be a game day decision to where, maybe a player gets a knock in a game and he's not feeling it, or he's played poorly and his confidence isn't up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take him out of the lineup and put another one in who's ready to step up there. Because as we know, it's a crapshoot sometimes, and kids hit them, and World Cup stars miss them, and keepers make great saves, and it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Is the itinerary set for the trip over? You know when you're leaving, you know where you're stopping, you know what everything's happening for Thursday night. You got that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you're gonna take the long way. You're gonna go on 285 and get caught in traffic, and you're gonna just get stuck there, or are you gonna leave at like 9:05 in the morning, and they're gonna let you out the door, and is everything gonna be fine?
Well, if I was like football, we'd leave at 8 in the morning, but they don't let soccer do that.
Tell Bruner that's the way to do that. Your way is the way to do it, right?
Yeah. His way is the way to do it. No, we're going to leave about 4:30 over here and hopefully get over there and catch a little bit of the girls' game, not get too caught up in the emotion of what they're doing, but, time to get over there and relax and be able to get ready for our own match.
Do you and Coach Page have conversations and share notes about what's going on when it comes to the program, capital P in general?
Yes, we do. I got to walk down to my next class, but I'll keep you on here.
Well, I was going to say, this is the last, dude. This is last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, we work very well together, and we don't always have time to collaborate on certain games or teams, but we'll collaborate on logistics of what we're doing. And, if he's gone somewhere, what was the traffic like? How long did it take you? What was their setup like as far as field and the width or the dimensions, if they're any different than ours? And so we've worked really well together.
Good deal. Go to class. If you need a note for being late, let me know, and I'll shoot you one over there, and I'll get it to the AD, and I'll get it to you and Paige. Thanks for dropping by, Coach.
Right. Thank you.
There goes Bruce Wade, head coach on the boys' side. And so he's out the door. He's got to go to class. Jason Page on the girls' side, he's joining us at 12:30 on Red Clay. So here's the rundown from where we are. We've got 15 minutes to go through news and things. We'll get into juice boxes and ref crews for Major League Soccer tonight. Big night in Major League Soccer. Dylan Butler is going to join us at 10. As far as I know, the busiest man in the Northeast is joining us at 10. Then we'll get into Major League Soccer for 20 minutes. Lauren Jones from Model joining us at 10:20. And then you get Coach Park from Armuchee joining us at 10:45. And then we hang it up for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then come back for Red Clay at noon, where we talk to West Forsyth, we talk to Walton again, and then we catch up with Kelly Bowler at Johns Creek, Ben Parker at Savannah Arts Academy, And like I said, at this rate, I may end up having to do a power hour to break off everything that we didn't get the chance to talk about and talk about it at the end of our day, our capital D day, the business end of things, before you end up with the matches tonight on the high school side of things. And just so you know, as I wander backward into my brackets, it is 5 and 7:30, and it is on the 5A side on the girls. It is Chamblee and Greenbrier. If you missed the interview with Rob Houston from Greenbrier, you can catch up with that. We did that Monday at noon on Red Clay. Chamblee and Greenbrier, that's at 5 o'clock, and that one is at Duluth. Double A, and that's Maddie and Jason, by the way. Double A girls, 5 o'clock, Pike County and Coahulla Creek. We had caught up with Shannon Coley yesterday from Coahulla Creek. Did we catch up with? Yeah, we caught up with him in the live show this morning, 10:45 yesterday. So if you want to go back and listen to Shannon Coley on your drive down from Whitfield County, you can do that. That was in the morning show at 10:45 yesterday. And that will be Nick and Justin Hanover on the call at St. Pius. 5A boys, 7:30-ish, because yesterday with what happened in the first match with Oconee County and Jefferson, it turned into 7:30-ish. It was like 7:50. It is Johns Creek River Ridge. And that's why we catch up with Kelly Bowler. And it just irks me about firewalls that we weren't able to catch up with Coach Thomas. So Johns Creek and River Ridge heavyweights. Jason and Maddie once again on the call of that one at 7:30-ish from Duluth. And then the late game at St. Pius, Savannah Arts Academy, Pierce County. Savannah Arts, once again, Ben Parker. We catch up with him. That's going to be in the noon show. And that is Nick and Justin, 7:30, NFHS Network, Bookham Dano. Aloha. Okay. Getting into Major League Soccer, we got to get into juice boxes and all the things. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Dell. Morning, Michael. Now let's get into juice boxes and let you know what's going on. Full night on MLS. And so that means, shoot, I know I forgot to do something. So I got to catch up here really quickly, and we'll go here. Let's see. So I'm booking guests for Friday here quickly. Hang on just a second. Let's see. Let's see here in a double match week. Yeah, so I'm reaching out to our friends at Major League Soccer. Let's see for. Sorry, hang on. As David says, it's sausage on Friday morning. Okay, I think I got that covered. I think we are good to go there. Okay, all right. Note to self: do that on Tuesdays when you're trying to get all your games done. Okay. Once again, we got to get into juice boxes. That's where we were going. So juice boxes for tonight and all of the activity in Major League Soccer. So midweek weekend, Atlanta United is not active because, as it turns out, they're going to be in Orlando Saturday and then Tuesday for Open Cup. Mike Gramajo should be joining us on Friday. Might be taped before the show starts. Might be live, batting leadoff. Don't know. So here we go tonight. We'll get into Ref Cruise, and we'll let you know what's going on there in a bit. 7:25 kick, so that means this one is on FOX in some degree. Charlotte hosting NYC. Charlotte is a plus 129, draws a plus 260. NYC is a plus 190. 7:40 starts, and there are a lot of them. CF Montreal hosting Portland Timbers, favored, even money plus 100. And I still think that a lot of these juice boxes, they just throw spaghetti in the wall, sit there and go, oh, that's a good number, and you just have that for the middle. Draws a plus 290. Portland on the road a plus 229. And you're wondering about the career dissipation light and Phil Neville. We'll keep an eye on that. 7:40 DC in Chicago. DC a dog at home plus 179. Draws a plus 260. Fire or a plus 145. Red Bulls at home. Underdog to Crew at a plus 190. Draws a plus 290. Crew is a plus 120 on the road. FC Cincinnati at 7:40 hosting Messi and Friends at home a plus 200. Messi and Friends are a plus 114. Draw is a plus 300. Revs hosting Nashville SC at a plus 188. Plus 250 on the draw. plus 150 for Nashville SC. Purple team hosting Philly, also at a plus 188. See what I meant about just posting numbers up there as spaghetti. Purple team is a plus 180. That moved. Wow. That moved like we were talking about it. They're hearing us. Plus 179 to the purple team. Draws a plus 270. And Philadelphia Union a plus 140 from the bottom of the table. 8:40 starts. Minnesota minus 130 hosting Colorado. Colorado is a plus 350. Draws a plus 300. FC Dallas hosting Vancouver. FCD is a plus 250. Draw is a plus 270. Vancouver favored at what was a minus 104, and it just changed to a plus 104. 8:40 in the middle of the country at the Pink Park. St. Louis City SC hosting LAFC. LAFC favored at a plus 140. Draw is a plus 260. St. Louis City is a plus 175. Sporting Kansas City at home hosting LAG. LAG is a minus favorite on the road at a minus 122. Draw is a plus 309. Sporting is a plus 300. 9:30/9:40 starts. San Diego FC hosting Austin at a minus 143. Draws a plus 340. Austin is a plus 350. RSL and Houston. Jarrett will be at Rio Tinto tonight, so you'll have reports on social and on the .net afterward. RSL hosting Houston at a minus 128. Draws a plus 309. Houston is a plus 350. Seattle is a minus 125. San Jose is a plus 309. We saw that number before, and San Jose is a plus 300. So those are your numbers tonight before everybody hits the road again on the weekend. So your officiating matchups and your officiating rundowns, if assignments, here we go, MLS assignments. It's like, I just want the assignments. That's all I want. So today, that is MLS Next Pro. I don't need MLS Next Pro. I need MLS assignments match day 13. Here we go. Charlotte and NYC, John Freeman, no relation in the middle. Ryan Graves, Rhett Hanley, your ARs. John Matto is your fourth. Eunice Maracci and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. FC Cincinnati and Messi and friends. Alexis De Silva's in the middle. Andrew Bigelow, Diego Blas, your ARs. Marcus de Oliveira is your fourth. Armando Villarreal, Brian Marshall are upstairs. DC and Chicago, Ricardo Fierro in the middle. Corey Parker, Kyle Atkins, your ARs. Matthew Corrigan is your fourth. Kevin Terry Jr., Matthew Rodman are upstairs. CF Montreal and Portland, Alan Chapman in the middle. Nick Balsert, Twain Anderson, your ARs. Renzo Villanueva is your fourth. Sean Tahini and Jeff Swartzel are upstairs. Revs in Nashville get Sergei Demyanchuk, so he ain't going to be taking no guff from nobody. Corey Richardson, Mike Nickerson, your ARs. Ismail Elfath is your fourth. Fotis Bazakis and Karsten Gilwald are upstairs. Red Bulls and Crew, Pierre-Luc Lozier is the man in the middle. Brian Dunn, Eduardo Jeff, your ARs. Luis Diego Arroyo is your fourth. Timothy Ford and Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Purple team in Philly, Sergi Boyko. However, Corey Rockwell and Adam Winkowski are your ARs. Elvis Osmanovic is your fourth. Joe Dickerson is your VAR, and Craig Lowry is also upstairs. FCD in Vancouver, Rosendo Mendoza is at Toyota Stadium. Jose De Silva, Bruno Rizzo are your ARs. Rubiel Vasquez is your fourth. Daniel Chesky and Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. Sporting in LAG, Ricardo Montero Araya is the man in the middle. Nick Uranga, Walt Heatherly are your ARs. Drew Klemp is your fourth. Guido Gonzalez Jr., Jeffrey Greason are upstairs. Minnesota United, Colorado, Elihu Adegin is in the middle. Chris Elliott, Tyler Y. Rostick, your ARs. Callan Radisov is your fourth. Alyssa Pennington and TJ Zablocki are upstairs. Lorenzo Hernandez in the middle for St. Louis City and LAFC. Logan Brown, Ben Regal, your ARs. Matt Thompson is your fourth. Ismir Peknich and Tom Felice are upstairs. RSL in Houston get Jair Marufo in the middle. Megan Millen, Justin Howard, your ARs. Brad Jensen is your fourth. Chris Penso, Cameron Blanchard are upstairs. San Diego and Austin FC. Malik Badawi's in the middle. Jeremy Hansen, Stephen McGonigal, your ARs. Victor Rivas is your fourth. Lucas Zapala, Ian McKay are upstairs. Seattle and San Jose. Philip Dujic is in the middle. Chris Wadham, Stefan Tanaka front, your ARs. Remy Tuchon is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and Joshua Patlak are upstairs. So that's your rundowns of your juice boxes and all of your things heading into the matchups tonight. Once again, 7:25 is your first kick, and 9:40 is your last one. It's going to be a busy night for everybody in the MLS studios. 360 is going to be flying around all over the place. Chicago Fire, by the way, since we mentioned the Fire, they have, according to Tommy Scoops, Tom Bogert, have their sponsor for the new barn. and it is McDonald's. Maybe you walk under golden arches at McDonald's Park. Oh, there are so many opportunities. McDonald's Park, naming partnership up and running in the 78, the first time as a naming rights partner for a major professional sports stadium in the United States. A permanent McDonald's restaurant, terms of the deal obviously not disclosed. Statement from Joe Mansueto. Privately funded $750 million, 22,000 seat venue. I still think you're selling yourself short. I hope you can expand it. In the South Loop neighborhood on the riverfront, once again, looking to host concerts and other events beyond the soccer matches. Two brands also get a broader partnership with the Fire beyond naming rights. Beginning in 27, McDonald's is going to be the presenting partner of the Fire's Plays program, focusing on a soccer-based curriculum operating in 70 public schools in Chicago. Also further charitable programs via the Ronald McDonald House. And once again, scheduled to open up in 28. It is new stadium, Dillon Butler Estates opening in 27. FC Dallas in the middle of a $182 million renovation in at Toyota Stadium. And then you have this stadium here, McDonald's Park, the 78 that is going to be open in 2028. So big news for Chicago and something that you really need in these situations. You need a corporate sponsor. Hint, hint, Spurs. Hint, hint. How you don't have a corporate sponsor, I have no idea. But anyway, corporate sponsors needed for these kinds of things, and to have one out of the blocks for the 78 project in Chicago, very, very cool that they have gotten that on the board. So it's very, very cool to see that coming and seeing McDonald's. Yeah, I still think that you're going to have the players going through the Golden Arches. I guarantee you that. They're going to go through the Golden Arches, and then they get to, let's see, what else could happen? You know, obviously you're going to have a lot of kids with Happy Meals. I don't think you necessarily want players with Happy Meals. Let's see. As long as like Grimace isn't lurking in, live shots and things like that, or Hamburglar, and you don't have Ronald McDonald singing the anthem, I think you're going to be okay. Now, if you could just kind of curtail the salt on the fries, I think you'd be in good shape. I'm just saying. So that's fun stuff there. When Dylan drops in, we're going to talk about the salary figures that got released by the MLSPA, and some of the stuff not necessarily a surprise, and some of the other stuff really, is a surprise when you think about it. You got your 10 highest paid players. Some guy named Messi's at number one, and there are whole franchises that have more that have less guaranteed compensation than Lionel Messi has salary. But once again, not a shock. Guaranteed compensation for Messi at 28.3. Guaranteed compensation for every club underneath LAFC is less than that. Not a shock, mind you, but I'm just saying that you have all these expenditures, and Rich Ransom, I'm sure, is probably once again cursing his ownership group because they're dead blank and last. Salary figure $11.7 million. $11.7 million in guaranteed comp for Philly. And so new stars, new deals. Josh Sargent, Thomas Mueller at 5.2. Denny Bouanga at 4.9. Timo Werner comes in at 4.3. And you have Hamas coming in as an amortization number at $684,000. And remember, Josh Sargent came in with a $20 million fee in addition to the salary at 5.2. So they also came up with a great budget 11 at the Athletic. Two of the players for RSL, Xavier Gozo, Sergi Solans, totaling $214,000 total. So you got the homegrown numbers and things like that, obviously. But we'll get into the takeaways with Dylan when he pops in here for 20 minutes. Lauren Jones from Model set to join us at 10:20. Jason Park from Armuchee at 10:45. Then we'll go over the other stuff that is on the board. Like I said, Michael Carrick looks like he is that much closer to becoming the full-time, locked-in, contract secured manager at Manchester United. Carlo Ancelotti, in an interview with The Guardian, said that Neymar's call-up depends only on him and what he shows on the pitch. And then Real Madrid yesterday, it was one of those rants for the ages from Florentino Perez. Calls for elections, didn't mention Jose Mourinho at all. Insisting his health is perfect, but he said he wasn't there to talk about sporting issues. Lasted an hour. Staff tried to close it down. And he leads off the presser by saying, "Good afternoon. I regret to inform you I'm not going to resign." Packed press room at the Valdebebas. That's how it started. Looked at papers, calling for elections, didn't announce a date or a commission or any kind of resignation or anything like that. And so literally he goes for an hour and he's just like, "I'm going to talk about this, and this." And literally an hour later, the press people in the communications department at Real Madrid tried to shut him down multiple times. Didn't work. Perez said that the media was conspiring against Real Madrid, insisting that the local media get together to work out how they can damage the club, and how Perez, as he said, get their grubby hands on the club. Used horrible, resentful, anti-Madridista, conspiracy, collusion, fake news from the 68 regime individuals, all those kinds of things. So we got to bring in Dylan here on the hop. So we're bringing in Dylan here on the hop. I got a good 20 minutes with you today, sir, because I have coaches who are school teachers. So,
yeah.
All right. We got the salary figures that came out. We got games here in the midweek. We got games on the weekend. Where would you like to go, comma, sir, question mark?
Where I didn't look at the salaries, so any game related, I'm good with.
Okay, so we'll go there. But I mean, it was stuff that we kind of figured, but then that they finally end up telling you the actual numbers. Messi's guaranteed comp is greater than the guaranteed comp of all but two franchises, one of them his own, and LAFC is the second. His guaranteed comp is higher than guaranteed comp for everybody else in Major League Soccer. I know that shocks you. The top 10 in salaries, Sun Young Min at number 2 at 11.2. Rodrigo de Paul, Chucky Lozano, man, 9.3 million to just kind of sit. I love that kind of gig. Almiron, Forsberg, Surridge, Ricky Puig, Jonathan Bombahani, Mukhtar. That's your top 10. Mukhtar's making 5.4, and good on you. So you go to the top, the big spenders. No shock. Messi and friends at 54.6. LAFC at 32.7. Atlanta United third at 27.9. LAG at 26.4. Vancouver now with what they've been investing specifically in like Thomas Mueller, 26.4, 24.6. San Diego's right there. Cincinnati, I thought, was kind of big at 23.5, but then you go to the bottom. Philly at 11.7. I mean, Philly at 11.7. You could take almost 5 Phillies and put them into one Messi and friends.
I was going to say, is that like one game for Messi?
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, it's so literally 11.7 for Philly. And so now that the folks in Philly are seeing these numbers, they're sitting there and they're going, curse you, foibles foiled again kind of thing. Sporting at number 2 because of the purge. We figured that. CF Montreal, that's kind of how Joey is. Purple team at 13.7, Colorado at the bottom. So that's your bottom 5. 11.7 for Philadelphia Union. Man, it's like the Phoenix Coyotes all over again. Did I say that in my out loud voice?
You did. You did.
All right. So getting into what happened this past weekend and standings and such and the matchups tonight, because we have matchups to get into in the weekend, but we have to get through tonight before we could even go there. So you'd probably have to come back on Thursday or Friday to talk about the weekend. On the weekend, you had some really interesting stuff go down where it was Houston grabbing their whooping stick and anybody else's, putting 4 on LAFC, which I know is a shock. NYC putting
Jack McGlynn coming up big, right?
Yeah, and so everybody's looking at Jack McGlynn. Portland putting 6 on Sporting. All right, so let me stop with those two. Houston, they had a formation change. We had Casey White come on. She's called 4 matches already on Apple this year. And they had just a formation tweak for Ben Olsen. and now they are really doing some serious damage. They started out the bottom, a really poor start, formation change. Now you this, and you put 4 on LAFC. Who is this Houston, and what have you done with LAFC? I guess would be my 2 questions.
And they've outside of this, because if you're a cynic, you could be like, well, LAFC post CONCACAF Champions Cup,
Yeah.
like,
And I know you were resting Bouanga, yeah, but still.
but they put up some good results of late. So it's not like a one-off. They're climbing up the table in the West. And you hear from, because I was on Sunday as well, you hear from like McGlynn post-match, and he was, I think, echoing a lot of what Olsen has said. Like, we are, it starts on the defensive end, and we're very strong there. We're hard to break down. And then you've got moments, you've got guys like McGlynn who can deliver that moment of brilliance on the attacking side. So, yeah, I mean, it's this is Major League Soccer, so it's hard to make definitive statements.
Yeah, you're no kidding.
But right now it would appear, that they're certainly, they're on the uptick.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, and I mean, you combine McGlynn with Mati Bogusz, who I know that they're looking to have contribute more. Guilherme has been putting up
He's
some
been awesome.
That's been a great pickup for them in the offseason. I know that they wanted to, they got rid of Griffin Dorsey, and that got Ben Olsen kind of pissed. And so you got, you bring in Ache for round 2. He's coming in off the bench to help you out. It's interesting to see these pieces come together. And like I said, you mentioned McGlynn, but yeah, Mati Bogusz was a big pickup for them offensively. You dropped a lot of coin to bring him in. And Guilherme, to me, is just kind of flown in under the radar in all of this.
100%. Yeah, I think of like, of the maybe underrated kind of guy, like, he's right there. Like, he's so good. He would, I would think, get, if he played for Miami and LAFC,
Yeah,
would probably get a lot more attention. But yeah, great pickup by Houston, no doubt.
I mean, you look at Sporting, Kansas City, and it's
not very sporting.
No, it is not. They're on pace to give up close to 100 goals. I mean, I know that we're at the 1/3 mark of the season and everything, and pace will slow down, schedule compression, blah blah blah. But you give up 6 to Portland, and I mean, it is. I mean, you look at the numbers, just the numbers of just where things are with Sporting, and I mean, I don't know if I'm a fan. I know I'm supposed to be patient because David Lee said it's going to be 3 windows and stuff like that. We're only, we're going to bring in 12 to 14 players at the beginning of the year. Rafa Vicky, I think, probably needs to go into work with a hard hat every day just to kind of keep his head low. They've only scored 8 in their first 11 matches. They've given up 32 goals given up in their first 11 matches. So you're not even scoring 1. You're giving up on average 3, even though you've given up more in bunches. Your goal difference is minus 24. And you got to put, I mean, if you're a fan of Sporting Kansas City from where they were and under Peter Vermes and such, you got to put up with a lot of ish right now because it's what's worse than bad? What is worse than bad? That's where it is right now with Sporting.
I mean, what it is, it's what's worse than bad is, I think, or maybe it goes hand in hand with bad, but just not competitive.
Yeah.
Like, you could be bad and try really hard and just not get results. But you look at that Portland match, what was it, 4-0 within like 30 minutes or something like that? Like, it wasn't even like, that's what, if I'm a Sporting fan, would frustrate me, because say what you will about the end of the Vermes era, the one constant I feel like among his teams were, they would work their socks off, right? Like, they would battle you to the ends. Maybe they weren't good enough on the day, but you knew you were in for a fight, and we're not seeing that right now. So, and now you're starting to hear like, how much of what David Lee did at NYCFC was, City Football Group related and their scouting network versus now he's got to go in and, kind of do what so many of the other people in his position have to do, right? Like
you got to build it now. Yeah.
build it. Yeah. So,
Um,
yeah, not good, but there is good barbecue in Kansas City.
Oh
so,
yeah, good barbecue, good steaks. If
yes.
you're looking for the finest meats, and I don't know about the cheeses, but if you're looking for you're looking for the finest meats, you can definitely get that in multiple places in Kansas City. I've just what I can't wait for is all of the teams that are going to be in Kansas City and around Kansas City for this competition coming up in about 5 weeks. What their vital signs and their vital stats are going into Kansas City, and what they're going to be when they leave Kansas City. How many folks are going to be gaining like 10 and 15 pounds, and like the freshman 15 for hanging out in Kansas City during the World Cup as they go back to their countries and their clubs? Dude, what happened to you? Oh man, it was the
Kansas City,
the barbecue and the steaks. They were huge, man. I couldn't believe it. I want to know how many folks get the freshman 15 when they stay in Kansas City for the World Cup.
So funny story for you, and as a kind of a foodie, you'll appreciate this. So I once upon a time I would do I was like an embedded reporter for CONCACAF.com during Gold Cups, which meant I would get whatever the group was. Usually it was the US's group. And I would, travel around, the chartered flights, the nice hotels, the whole thing. So one year it was a barbecue heaven. So I think my first stop was Nashville. From Nashville, we went to Kansas City. And then from Kansas City, the next stop was Dallas.
Dude.
How great is that?
Dude, that's like DOOD, dude.
All different types. And also, I'm going to give away a little secret of what I did travel-wise that works well. So I forgot the name. If I looked it up quick, I would see it. But I forgot the name of the place in Nashville I went to. But I don't think what I do is any different than most people. I look up what's the best barbecue,
Yeah.
So, and I go to that place. So line around the block. Crazy, right? And the guy's coming over, like checking. All right, guys, it'll just be about don't worry, we'll get you in. And I said, excuse me, is this the line also to sit at the bar, or it's like, no, go right ahead. Boom. And
Very
I'm like,
nice.
That worked so well. I'm going to do that in Kansas City. So I went to, did I go to Jack Stacks? I think. I think I did. And because I was in that, what is that area called? The Country Club area, right? In Missouri, I think it's called.
Okay. I'll take you
in Kansas City. And I'm like, that worked so well that time. I'm going to do it here as well. So, I mean, I was always solo anyway. So I was like, all right.
Is this the line for the bar? I have to remember that one. That's pretty solid.
Yep.
Are you on the desk tonight?
Oh man, I'm coming in hot. I've got a huge lacrosse game this afternoon at 5.
Oh, you are coming in hot.
Yep. Yeah, I'm about 35 minutes or so from Hofstra to home. So
okay.
Okay. Hoping for no overtime but also in a way I'm hoping for overtime because it sets up for the dramatic calls, right? So
yes. So who's the matchup this afternoon?
Big one, Chaminade St. Anthony's. I think I had told you before. I don't have the numbers offhand. I want to say there's 60 something college bound players between the two teams. There's I think 33 Division I players. There's the number 1 ranked player in the class of 26 playing for Chaminade, James Gillis. So like this is the time of year if you're a lacrosse fan, like you see it's the quarterfinals, right? And you see what is it? Georgetown, Hopkins, Syracuse, North Carolina, right? All like these kind of blue bloods of Notre Dame, of college lacrosse, these guys are all playing there. Like, as a matter of fact, we do a graphic called like Next Level, where we mention, like, you know, guys who are currently playing college lacrosse or whatever sport it is, right? But in this case, lacrosse.
Yeah.
From these two programs, we actually changed it to say, because Hofstra will also be the site of two of the quarterfinals for the NCAAs on Saturday.
Okay.
So we changed the graphic to say these are 5 guys from these teams that are playing there. Like, that's how many are playing Next Level lacrosse. So
that's epic. The Varsity Media on the YouTubes, right?
Yep.
Okay,
And then I'll also be there on Saturday at Hofstra, because I am the timeout coordinator for the ESPN on for the broadcast. So
you get to wear the red hat.
I asked if I had to buy one. I think I might go hatless. I'm not sure.
Okay. Tonight, couple of ones to keep an eye on. Messi and friends at Cincinnati.
Well, that means they're going to win because they're not at home. So.
Right, and they're a favorite at +114.
I think there's goals in that one too, because Cincinnati's been putting up some goals. Evander and Denke scored right against Charlotte, 2-2 draw there. Evander's playing better now, so you like that matchup. You know, between Evander and Messi, and
the back line of Messi and friends, and
right.
Yeah, goals. Revs in Nashville has turned into a sneaky good game.
Yeah, it has. Revs are you know, so I think they catch your attention, but then you're also like, you know, I don't know, strength of schedule. Are they only doing it at Gillette? Like, who are these guys? Now, Carlos Heel has turned back the clock a little bit. He's been great, and we mentioned this before. He doesn't have to be the guy now, so that's a big plus for him. Luca Langoni scored a golazo in their win on the weekend, so I think this is their for real game. You know, like I thought that was the case on the weekend for San Jose, right? Like, all right, you're doing well, but now you got Vancouver coming in. Are you for real? And, you know, they battle. It was a 1-1 draw. So I think they proved themselves in that game that, you know, they could be a legit contender in the West. And I think this is New England's chance here. Granted, they are at home, you know, where they're 6-0 on the season, but, you know, are you guys going to be an elite East team, or is this just like a good run against maybe some bad teams?
2 out west, RSL hosting Houston at Rio Tinto. Our Jarrett Smith will be there for that one.
Always Rio Tinto, by the way.
Yes, it is always
Rio Tinto, always Red Bull Arena.
And always the Riot. And Seattle hosting San Jose for 2 late games. What do you think about West Coast?
Yeah, I think both of those are interesting. You know, I'm also a little bit intrigued. I remain intrigued about Austin, right? Like, they earn a draw against Minnesota on Sunday. So they're also playing better. I think a chance maybe to take 3 points against San Diego there for them. RSL Houston's definitely one that I circled, because again, the form that Houston's in, Salt Lake is always really good there. You know, you've got Luna, McGlynn, the U.S. men's national team storylines, all that kind of fun stuff. And then, Seattle is interesting because they don't give up goals. They don't score goals. San Jose does score goals, but they've also done a good job not giving up goals. So this is like a second, not week in a row, but second time in a few days here for another San Jose, like, are you for real game? And you've got to do it at Lumen. And
you've got to do it without Nico Shakiris for the next couple of months.
Yep.
Of surgeries. As always, my friend, great to see you. Varsity Media on the YouTubes at Dylan_Butler on the 280 character app. Be safe, my friend. Have great calls. May it go to overtime. May it not go to overtime, whichever helps you out.
May there be no traffic on Long Island.
That's what's more important. No traffic on Long Island to get you back for tonight. Great to see you, my friend. We'll see you next week.
All right, buddy.
There he goes, Dylan Butler. He's hanging out in New York. Now it's time to go from New York to model. We get to catch up with Lauren Jones first time. She gets to see what life is like here on the morning show. Morning, Lauren. Good to see you.
Good morning. Can you hear me good?
You are good and good to go.
Awesome.
And you are busting out the Blue Devil gear, which we always like to see with the T-shirts and everything.
Of course, we're always repping.
No doubt. First off, thank you for coming on to the morning show and letting us know when your planning periods are. I know that we kind of had to do this on the hop, and it's great to be able to catch up with you here. I have my bracket, and it is written in pen. And so that's how messy my bracket is, by the way, from everything that has happened.
Yeah.
Top ranked, and you're in the last game of the year again. How difficult is it to maintain this level of success that you've been able to have up there with the model program?
Well, I would say, obviously it's difficult to get back to, a state championship. It's no small feat. But my girls were up to the task. We had most of my starters returning from last year. We did lose one senior last season. So most of my squad coming back strong this year. But we tell our girls tunnel vision, and they've really bought into that. So one game at a time mentality. Our first goal this year was to win a region championship, which we did not do last year. Bremen beat us in the region championship, and then we got a little sweet revenge in the state championship last year, getting them back for that, winning that state championship. But goal number one this year was to win a region championship. We did that. And then next goal was to win a state championship. So we've kind of chipped away at it, one game at a time, had some tough battles. But yeah, no small feat. But again, like our girls were, from the beginning of the season, that was their goal.
You look at some of the numbers, and frankly, they're staggering. I want to get into that in a second. 20-2. So, because literally, if a team, and I was talking to Matt Cheeves on tape earlier this morning, and his record is 21-1, and I had to go 20-1-1 because everybody's going to start. Oh, you had 21 wins. No, it's 20-1-1. 20-2 for you this year.
Yes.
I want to go back to the 2.
Okay.
And I want to go back to the loss at Dalton and the loss at Rome, 13, 14, 15. 2 losses in 5 days.
Yes.
What did you learn about yourself in those 5 days that you've been able to apply going forward to get you to this moment that we're talking about Thursday afternoon?
So both were away games, so both on the road. At Dalton, Dalton's a great team. We actually, in my opinion, possessed the ball and had more shots on goal than we could probably count. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So of course, it was frustrating at the beginning of the year, feeling like, we were the better team on the field, but just not being able to connect. But credits to Dalton. They had a great game plan. Their goalkeeper made some fantastic saves. But learning in that game about my team, at that moment after we lost at Dalton, we had a choice. Like, are we just going to, let this fuel us? Or are we going to kind of have a shutdown moment? And then we turn around and play Rome, which is a crosstown rival, bigger school than us, or a little tiny 1A versus, a big school. And my girls kind of came out a little, I really don't know what the word would be. Maybe not fearful, but maybe just they didn't want another loss. And I feel like there was a lot of pressure on that game because they do play travel ball with a lot of those girls that are on the Rome team. So there's a lot of jabber, back and forth about that rival game. But Rome, again, had a great game plan. They executed their game plan well. We had multiple chances on goal that we did not connect with. So having those back-to-back games where we had opportunities to put the ball in the back of the net and we didn't connect was frustrating for my girls, to say the least, because they're like, we're having these opportunities. Why can't we finish? Why are we missing that last piece of the puzzle? And I would say maybe 10 minutes left into the game, we were down 2-0 at Rome. And my girls were like, we're going to fight for this. So the last 10 minutes, we were able to earn 2 PKs in the box just because we were being so aggressive offensively. We put both of those PKs in. We go to extra time. Well, actually, no, we go straight to PKs. I'm sorry. We go straight to PKs because it's a non-region game.
There's silly non-region games that go straight to PKs.
Right, yeah. So we went straight to PKs, and we ended up losing to Rome in PKs. So again, a turning moment for our team. Does this shut us down? We've had 2 losses in a row. When's the last season we've had 2 losses in a row? It's been a while. So we kind of have that scare moment, like, who are we? You know, like, are we going to be able, are these goals achievable that we said at the beginning of the year? And my girls, they answer and they say, yes, we're fine. We just need to fix this one piece of the puzzle, which is finishing. We did. And now we've kind of been rolling ever since.
3 double-digit goal scorers, but I know that when folks are going to walk in the door and look at how you're going to go up against Thomasville Thursday afternoon down in Thomaston,
yes,
you're going to look at Molly Allman, and her numbers are just crazy. 42 and 21 this year. If you could break down her game and what makes her so special for you, how would you describe the kind of player that Molly Allman is?
she's an incredible athlete. Her speed is just a gift. Her placement and knowing when to use power and when to use placement and when to use a combination really is, it's incredible. But I will say that she is surrounded by so many players that can contribute to her game, and I feel like that elevates her game, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're able to get her into the ball, into space where she's successful. And then when, of course, you know, everybody's name that they have circled usually is Molly. So she usually has 1 or 2 people on her. But Molly is so good at distributing the ball as well, which is why her second number is as good as it is. But she's just an incredible athlete, just overall. She can finish. She can leave the ball off to one of her teammates. She trusts them to finish. Yeah.
You look at 13 others who have contributed to scoring goals for you this year, and one of them is a sophomore, and Samantha Betts, who's 18 and 10 for you this year. What's it like to have someone who is an underclassman who's able to contribute and be, I guess, part of the benefactors of that positional gravity that we talk about with Molly? And it's like, oh, okay, then that means that Hennessy's open. Oh, that means that Samantha's open. That means that someone else is open. So those chances are being created, and they're closing the door on them when they need to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Samantha Betts, wow, what an athlete. She plays 1, 2, 3 sports here at MHS and is super successful at all 3. So kind of looking back to Rome and Dalton, 2 of our sophomores actually play basketball. So we did not have those 2 starters with us when we played Dalton and Rome. Would that have been a factor? I think so, but we're not going to look backwards. But we have them now. Samantha Betts, wow, what an athlete. Yeah, her and Molly work so well together up top. We have them at the 10 and the 9, and they kind of switch back and forth just depending on, what kind of look we're wanting. But they do work so well together. And since Samantha's been back, she's just gotten better and better every game.
9 seniors, if my math is correct.
10.
10. I was going to say, don't trust me with math.
No, it's okay. You're good. 10 seniors.
10 seniors. When I mention this group of seniors who are trying to go back to back, which is never the easiest thing in the world, what sticks in your mind about this group of seniors?
Their work ethic is one in a generation, honestly. They want to get better every single day. And not only their work ethic, but just their selflessness, they genuinely do not care at the end of the day who scores our goals or who has the assists or who has the clearance or who has the steal. It is such a group, such a solid group that genuinely want the best for each other, the best for our team. And getting to have them these past 2 seasons, because as juniors, they were the same way. But now as seniors, they're leading truly. It's incredible.
When you have this group being what it is, and when you have Donnie's group across the hall being what it is, you literally are at Model a soccer program with a capital P. What has it been like for you as an alumna to see the program get to these points where they are, where both of you are chasing after championships? A deep run in the playoffs is almost, I guess, the expectation, at least the self-expectation. What has it been like to see this program being built with a capital P these days?
Oh my gosh, is just truly amazing. As an alumni, growing up in the soccer program, we celebrated a state playoff game. Like when we made it to the state playoffs, we were like, yay, we get to travel to Blessed Trinity. Yay, we get to travel to Westland, you know? So, I mean, like, it was just a celebration. We loved the trip. We had a good time. That's what I've been telling my girls. Like, it used to feel like a state championship when we went to the first round playoff game. And now this program has really set a precedent, like you said, of getting to these Elite Eight, Final Fours, state championship games. Our boys go 2 years ago. We go last year. We're going again this year. Boys very well could have been coming this year. That's a story for another day. But what an incredible season they've had. But the work that Donnie Mendence has put into his boys program, the work that the coaches before me have put in, the work that these girls have put in the off season has completely changed this game. As an alumni, you know, at Model, it used to be, okay, you play basketball. We also need you for soccer. We also need you for tennis. We also need you for volleyball when we had volleyball. But now it's kind of become this, you need to specialize in a sport here at Model, which is new. It's new to us these past few years. Like, in order for you to get significant playing time and for you to earn a spot on our team, you're pretty much going to have to play in the off season. So that progression has been wild and different.
When you look at the schedule to get you here to this matchup against Thomasville, how difficult is it for you to be the top-ranked team where, you know, growing up there was always the commercial with Robert Conrad with the battery on the shoulder, you know, I dare you to knock it off, I dare you. What's it like having the target on your back, knowing that everybody's gunning for you as the top-ranked team in the class?
Well, I kind of feel like the script is flipped this year. I kind of feel like all eyes are on Thomasville because they are the overall #1 ranked team, and well-deserved. They won their region. They won out their schedule. We did not. We won our region, but those 2 losses to Rome and Dalton really hurt us. But I really feel like it's prepared us to give Thomasville a good game. Looking back, playing Rome, we're going to try not to make those same mistakes again, right? Looking back when we played Dalton, we're going to try to not make those same mistakes again. Us having the schedule that we have this year, Adairsville, great team this year, gave us a great game at Adairsville, Cartersville. Like, us playing these bigger schools added to our schedule, I feel like really prepared us. We ended our regular season with Collins Hill, you know, great program, you know, bigger school than us, you know, like those types of games really, I feel like, set us up for a great run in the playoffs this year so far.
5 goals allowed, period. Like, end of story, period. 5 goals allowed. And for those that don't know, 128 goals scored, 5 allowed. That to me is absolutely staggering on both fronts, but it goes to, once again, the pride that your defense takes in what they're doing, regardless of who they're playing, and just how things can move offensively. Do you get the chance to enjoy either side of the ball doing what they're doing, or are you so locked into coaching in a game day that it's going to take you until probably like June 1st to realize what you've been able to accomplish?
No, well, a little bit of both. I absolutely love watching both sides of the ball for us. Like, our offense is incredible. Our defense is incredible. And defense is so hard to, like, it's not really a numbers game, right? You can't really put a whole bunch of numbers. I mean, we can do steals and we can do blocks and we can do, but my defense is, they work well, so well together. It's almost like they can telepathically communicate somehow. I really don't know. But Claire Allman, Molly Allman's twin sister on defense, kind of is our leader of our defense as our center back. And she's amazing. And I know I keep using that word amazing, but really, truly, like, my defense is so strong. Now, do they get beat? Yes. But when they do, the hustle and the communication of when they're replacing and covering for each other truly is amazing. When they get beat, then you get to see Maddie Green in the goal. And Maddie Green is a fantastic goalkeeper. And, you know, she might not have a whole bunch of saves in the save column, like if we were counting, but that's just because our defense and our midfield is so strong.
Crazy to look at these kinds of numbers. You mentioned twin sisters. When folks wander in the door down in Thomaston, are there any other cool storylines or news nuggets that folks need to know? Because, hey, look, I'm also getting intel from you because Luke Winstall and I are calling the match on the NFA Network. So what else do I need to know to tell Luke? What other cool storylines do you have going into this game?
Yeah, so we have Molly and Claire, twin sisters. Molly plays, striker. Claire's our center back. So that's like kind of two opposites. We also have another set of twins that are seniors. So the Hunt twins. So you'll see them.
How do you tell them apart?
Well, at first I really couldn't, the Almond sisters. But with any case of twins, like just the more you get to know them, they look completely different to me now. Now, unless they're turned around, if they have their jerseys on, it's easy for me to tell if they're in their soccer gear, because I can tell how they wear their hair, or their cleats, but if they're just walking down the hallway and their back's turned, that's hard.
Just checking.
Hold on, we're having an announcement.
Students, listen carefully to this announcement. It is about Mayfair and lunch. We are holding the bells. All students are staying in third period. We will not be ringing the bells. In about 5 minutes, we're going to start dismissing students by grade to report to the cafeteria to pick up your lunch, and then head out to the football field for the Mayfair festivities.
Okay.
We will start with the senior class.
I'm so sorry. I did not know that they were going to do this.
In about 5 minutes, we'll start dismissing each grade one at a time to pick up your lunch in the cafeteria and head out to the football field for the Mayfair festivities.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Mayfair festivities are around the corner there at Model.
Yes.
So I will not keep you up another 5 minutes, so you can actually have class and get them to lunch and then go to the football field. What concerns you the most about Thomasville, and what are you the most confident about going into this matchup?
What a team Thomasville has, really, truly. I don't think that they've lost many seniors from last year. If they have, man, they look just as good, if not better, as they did last year. We actually played Thomasville in an Elite Eight game last year at Thomasville. Strong team. We beat them 2-0. But what a fight that was in Thomasville. But what concerns me about Thomasville the most really is their offensive speed, just the speed of the game that they want to play. What we want to try to do, is not really give in and try to play to their speed. We also like to play fast sometimes, but I don't want to play Thomasville's game. I want to play our game. And with Thomasville, they just have some very skilled players, really all around. They have very skilled strikers. Their midfield is strong. Skill moves when I'm watching film, like all over the place. Their possession, they can possess, but I think their speed of play and their offensive attack is probably what I'm most worried about. Not that I don't trust my defense. It's just I'm just giving credit to where credit is due with Thomasville.
So how far back do you go when it comes to looking at what Lucas Kimmel and Thomasville do? Do you go back to last year's game and go from there? Do you just focus on this season? How do you look at it?
I've tried to just focus on this season. But Thomasville has done a great job hiding, really good film. It's been a struggle trying to find some decent film on them. So kudos to them on that. No, I really just kind of focused on this year's team. And that's what I hope people do against really anybody. I mean, I guess there's good things to look back from last year, but for us, we're a completely different team. I know we only lost one senior, but the way that we're playing is just different.
And you've got the itinerary squared away for being down in Thomaston by 3-ish on Thursday afternoon. You leaving after breakfast on Thursday?
That's the hope. Yep. It'll be an all-day event here at Model High School. We're super excited. We got some things our community celebrating us in some different ways. We're excited about that. The girls are pumped. Yeah, we're excited.
Good deal. Thursday, 4 o'clock, NFHS Network. Luke Winstall and I will be on the call down at Upson Lee as Thomasville and Model go at it. Class A, Division I Girls State Soccer Championships. Alumna Lauren Jones, the head coach for the Model High girls soccer team. Please prepare your classroom for sending folks to get their lunches before they head out to Mayfair. And I can't thank you enough for doing this and squeezing us into your hyper busy schedule. And we will see you in a couple days. And thanks for dropping by. It's always great to catch up with you and great to see you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
There she goes, Lauren Jones. She's going to go tackle the Mayfair now because that's going to be out at the football stadium. Nothing like announcements happening during class schedules. Jason Park from Armuchee set to join us here in a handful of minutes. That's kind of where we are. We are in the chaos of everything that is attached to the championships. And if you missed them yesterday, it was a great showcase for the sport. And you had with Nick and Justin Hanover, you had a great opportunity for some solid private school programs, a couple of close games there. And for the girls' side of things and for the Duluth side of things, you got to see Islands win their first title ever. And what we're going to try and do is catch up with the champs next week. We're going to set up times to catch up with all of the champions next week and figure out, okay, can they be on the morning show? Does it have to be taped? Does it have to be on red clay? Whatever. But we're going to try and catch up with all of the coaches that are championship coaches next week on the morning show or red clay or taped and run in some manner, way, shape, or form. So, yeah, as we're blowing up coverage here and on the noon show and on tape, and then we're leading into the coverage on the NFHS network. And then from there, leading into the next day and so on and so forth. Yeah, Jason Park is the other half of the equation. He's going to be taking on Thomasville Armuchee and Thomasville. That is going to be the nightcap Thursday after Thomasville and Model. And we've caught up with Coach Kimmel, the girls coach at Thomasville. And now we've caught up with Lauren Jones, the girls coach at Model. Caught up with Coach Peterson, the boys head coach at Thomasville. And we got Jason Park around the corner from Armuchee. So that is the rundown for all of that. Wow, wasting no time. And I teased him. I literally teased him, and he pops into the green room. He's wasting no time with me. Jason Park, how are you, sir?
I'm great, John. How are you, buddy?
It is that time of year where we get to talk about stuff. That's the official term, man.
That's good stuff. I love talking about stuff.
Yep. I have my bracket here, right here in front of me, and the Class A Division I boys bracket, and it is written in pen, and I'm trying to shield it so it doesn't be with all the lights. And I look here in the middle, and I see that you have survived the right-hand side of the bracket as team number 7, knocking off Rabun, knocking off Dodge, going to Ace Charter, and beating Barrow. What has this run in the postseason meant to you?
It's been hard. Coming back this season after being the state champs last year, everybody wanted a piece of the champs. And, boy, they came to whether we were at their place or at our place, it was like we got everybody's best game. And I tell you what, that did prepare us for making this run. The biggest question for us at the end of the season was, could we get healthy?
Yeah.
And we were very, very fortunate, John, to have right before that last week of the playoff or regular season, the week before we had a spring break. And I know a lot of coaches like to handle spring break differently, but here we've learned that if we give our kids time and just let them be kids and rest, they come back with a hunger. And our guys kind of knew how to approach going into the postseason. From that experience last year, we had a lot of guys coming back. So we gave them off that full week. We had one game to kind of tune up, and we finally got healthy. And that's been the biggest theme throughout this playoffs is we knew if we could get healthy, we could do some things. And it's just we've been very fortunate to be able to do that.
18-3 coming into this matchup against Thomasville. I want to go back to the matches that happened early in the season against Model at Model and then against Bremen. The back-to-back losses within 5 days, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 days, 2 games. You lose at Model 2-0. You lose to Bremen 2-1. What'd you learn about yourself then that has carried you forward?
Well, that was anytime you're playing your crosstown rival, the number 1 ranked team in the state, they had a big chip on their shoulder from last year where we were able to put them out in the semis and then come back. And it was a wake-up call. I mean, one of those good old-fashioned slap in the face where you show up and, they just got a hold. They outplayed us. We had 2 defensive mistakes, and they capitalized on it. And then we started to kind of, for us, it was one of those situations where could we change personnel? Could we do some things formation-wise to make us a little bit better? And then Bremen, again, same thing. They're talented, super talented. Both those teams are. And we played a little bit better. and still wasn't good enough. So that's when we really knew we had to make some changes. We had one of our starting striker got a torn ACL earlier, a little bit earlier. So we were still trying to find the personnel to replace him, and it's hard to replace a kid that had been playing for a while. I mean, we know that since we lost the D-Hart kid from last year, you can't replace a guy that scores 35 goals. But we were trying to do that, and we learned that we had to come to work every day, and we had to have other kids step up besides Mikey Aldana and Leighton Brown, who have been our two leading scorers. And I mean, they just work magic in the middle, and they needed help. So from that day forward, we kind of changed our formation a little bit, and put two more kids, put two up top instead of just having our normal one. And then we started playing much, much better soccer, started to make connections, runs, and just looked a lot more comfortable. And then we ran into Fannin.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Well, the three teams that beat us, they have been notoriously talented up here. Fannin was just, they're big and strong, fast, know what they're doing. They played excellent. Had excellent passes, came in with a purpose, and they wanted to prove a point, I think, and boy, did they prove it. And really after that game, that was when we realized that the most important thing for us was to get healthy. We had Leighton, one of my seniors, he had been kind of struggling with some calf, thigh issues, hip flexors, and things like that. Fannin just beat us, period. No excuse there. But we knew we're still not 100%. And then, like I said, after they put it on us pretty good, and then it ended up, that was pretty much for the region championship. And I kind of told the guys, I said, well, hopefully, keep playing good soccer. Let's win our remaining games, and then we'll see how the power rankings fall. And we were very fortunate to have a schedule that allowed us to stay ranked pretty high.
7th in the power rankings going in. You knock off team 26. You knocked off team number 10 in Dodge, which I think that was a 7-10 matchup is always pretty hard. Then you go to Ace Charter, who is team number 2. What'd you learn about yourself going on the road, knocking off Ace Charter?
They were a little bit different. They had a striker guy, played outside mid, very, very talented. You can't make mistakes. And I've got a kid that I've had ever since I got here. He was a freshman. He came in the same time I did. And we moved him he was one of our positional moves that we moved this year. We moved him from outside mid to the back line. And he came to me and he said, "Coach, put me on their stud. I'll shut him down." And he said, "I'll man mark him the entire match. I've got you." And I mean, when your seniors come to you and want that challenge, you give it to them. And so I said, "Okay, buddy, this is, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do." And he did a fabulous job. And the kid still ended up getting a goal. We made a mistake and lost him for maybe 10 seconds, and boy, he was gone. But for the most part, he did a good job of pushing him, funneling him outside, not letting him get the ball. It's hard to score if you don't have the ball on your feet, and he did a great job of that. And then our back line kind of just helped out and cleaned up any messes that we had after that. And then, of course, you had Mikey doing Mikey things and Leighton doing Leighton things, and it was just a very good team win, very clean. Very, very clean game, where as far as we were able to move the ball and get opportunities to score.
Okay, so since I'm studying for the game also, Luke Winstall and I are calling it on the NFHS network. Who am I staring at on the back line? Who's your man marking senior?
His name is Dimitri Castro.
Got it.
He's one of my 3 seniors that have committed to play in college. He's going to attend Oglethorpe University.
Good grab for John Aiken. That's a good grab.
Yeah, he's a great kid, great family, loves soccer. I mean, just, again, like I said, he came in as a freshman when I took over, here at the program, and we've kind of grown together. He's taught me quite a few things about soccer and vice versa and stuff. So Dimitri Castro, he's a very, very good defender.
Who else is going to the next level?
Leighton Brown has signed with Berry College here in Rome.
Okay.
And then Mikey Aldana is going to the University of North Georgia to play soccer.
Good deal. D2. Yeah, so that's good stuff. You got D2, you got D3, and you've got but Oglethorpe. That's a good pull. John Aiken is a great friend of ours here at the network, so we know of the individuals that he brings in. Getting into this matchup with Thomasville, what are you the most concerned about, and then what are you the most confident about going into this one?
Well, the funny thing is, concern. We finished that game last season. My principal, Joseph Pethel, looks at me and he said, "Coach, do you realize they're not losing anybody?" I said, "Coach, that is one team that if I never see again, it will be okay because they are really, really good." Their coach does a phenomenal job with them down there. I'm not going to lie. At the beginning of the season, every week I would look and see where Thomasville was ranked. Mm-hmm. I noticed they had lost some early games, and some of the people here have actually have found a lot of respect for Thomasville, and they were like, "Coach, they've lost games," and I said, "Guys, look who they're playing. Mm-hmm. They're playing 5A, 4A, big, huge schools, and they're getting beat 2-1." And then I knew they would figure it out. So I am not surprised in the least bit that Thomasville came out of South Georgia and then ended back where they are.
And then with you going into this one, you've done all the research, you've done all the brackets, you've looked at this one. Are you just normally pretty confident in doing your thing, and if you do your thing, you'll be fine?
That's a great question.
Heavy sigh again. That's the way to lead into it. Yep.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. There'll be very few coaches that will spend as much time thinking as myself and Coach Perry. We run ideas across each other. I mean, nonstop, phones blowing up during class, and just talking about that. We're gonna have to pay attention to I don't know the kid's last name. I know his first name's Gio. Mm-hmm. He's number 7.
Got it.
And if he breaks away, it's going to be a tough ask to stop him. We've got to be conscientious of where he is at all times. Their defense is very good. Their goalkeeper is very good. But I feel as though we match up well. Our strength in the midfield, we've got to. I'll take my 2 guys in the midfield, and we'll play anybody with those 2 kids. I mean, like I said, I've had them for 4 years now. Mikey, we didn't get him fully until his junior year, but Leighton's been around for 4 years. Those 2 guys are just extremely talented. They're the engine that makes us go, and it should be a great game. Their defense versus our offense in the midfield, and then hopefully, we can just put on a show. So confident, yeah. I'm always going to be a confident guy, and I always believe in our kids. And if we play our best soccer, we're hard to beat. And I promise you, Thomasville feels the exact same way.
Yep. And Gio Ulloa he scored both of their goals in the first half last year. Then you go ahead 3-2. Equalizer Gabe DeHart gets his third, 4-3 to win. Do you use that as any kind of a reference point with, it was last year, but we've seen what we can do in a situation like this? I'm not saying that you're locked into it as part of your lesson plan, but do you reference it at all in the road from there to here?
Well, yes, because it's part of that journey that got us here. Learning to deal with adversity. And they took the lead last year in the game, and we continued to battle, continued to fight. And that's something that we had to learn this year as coach put it, how to take a punch. When another team comes in and just gives you their best and goes up, are you going to fold? Or are you going to stop playing your game? And that happened to us in our losses. The other team got to us, and we didn't know how to take a punch. later on in the year, I think it was a game we had at Gordon Central, region game, tough game. It went like 1-1 into overtime, and we ended up scoring 3 goals in overtime.
Wow.
And beat them like 4-1. And after that game, we talked specifically about, all right, guys, we took one on the chin and we didn't crack. We shook it off and we got back in there and got after it. So I think that was a big turning point for us, is learning how to take that punch and withstand, their attack and attack back.
As always, my friend, let's see, 6:30 Thursday night. You're the nightcap. Luke Winstall and I are calling that one on NFHS Network. When are you leaving? After breakfast on Thursday morning? Make a day of it?
Yes, sir. We're going to head out at 11:30. We've got to throw a plug in there for Landmark Restaurant here in Rome. Great people, great food. They're going to feed us at about 12 o'clock, and then we're going to go down 27, take that nice little journey.
And we will see you at the end of that journey on the network. As always, my friend, great to see you, and great to catch up with you leading into this last game of the year in Class A D1 on the boys' side. Be safe, and we will see you in a couple days.
All right, I appreciate it, John. Have a good one, buddy.
There he goes, Jason Park, head coach at Armuchee. And, so that is the high school side of things here. Red Clay at noon. Reminder, it is West Forsyth girls. It is Walton girls. It is Johns Creek boys. It is Savannah Arts Academy boys. That's at noon. 12:30, and then Kelly Bowler and Ben Parker are after that to wrap up Red Clay at noon, presented by Kaiser Permanente. Okay, let's get into the other news that we have. Morning, David. And it is gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and all the things that we have before we get out of here. Okay, now we have what's going on at Southampton. Dan Sheldon at The Athletic. You had Southampton winning yesterday, but of course they are now going to go take on Hull to figure out who is going to be the third team that goes into the Premier League next season. But you have now the investigations, 116th minute winner from Shea Charles, and they knock off Middlesbrough. And so the world's richest soccer match slated for the 23rd on Saturday. And so Southampton charged by the EFL after Middlesbrough lodged the formal complaint on unauthorized filming. Keith Downey from Sky has kind of like a walkthrough. He's kind of recreated the alleged situation. So if you follow Keith Downey and Sky Sports on the Twitters, he's kind of got a little bit of a walkthrough on it. So you now have all of this stuff that is secondary, that was secondary, and it's now back to being primary. Tonda Eckert, he wanted to basically talk about the night, but then he was asked about the spying allegations, said the club's taken him very seriously, conceding it has overshadowed the match up until the moment he was asked outright whether he's a cheat. So that was asked in the post-match press conference. Tonda Eckert was asked if he's a cheat. That ended the press conference. Kim Hellberg, Middlesbrough's head coach, talked 15 minutes after the allegations and how they've impacted the team, praised his players, stopped short of congratulating Eckert, making clear he has nothing to say to him. Quote, if we didn't catch that man who they sent up 5 hours to drive, you'd sit here and say, well done, maybe in the tactical aspects of the game, and I'd go home and feel like I failed in that aspect and I had to help my players. But when that is taken away from you, when someone decides, nah, we're not going to watch every game, we'll send someone instead, we'll film the session and see everything and hope they don't get caught. I guess that's why they were switching clothes and all those things. It breaks my heart in terms of all those things I believe in. That might be your required reading. When it comes to today, is everything going on in this particular matchup? You're now having folks sitting there and looking at the rules of the game, going that they ought to boot the team out of the playoffs. Everybody's sitting here and saying, yeah, and Middlesbrough fans, obviously, but there you now have this hue and cry that Southampton should be booted out of the playoffs after being charged by the EFL. Southampton's CEO released a statement to say the club's fully cooperating with the EFL and their disciplinary commission. Internal review has been launched. And there's obviously, it's unclear as to what the punishment in effect could be. Could be a fine, which is what it was with Leeds when Marcelo Bielsa had his run-in over viewing practices through bushes and things. And remember the 90-minute PowerPoint presentation that he had saying, well, I really don't need to cheat. And here's what I see in them. Leeds got a fine, 6-figure fine. Kind of think that's where folks might be leaning in this particular case. So, obviously you keep an eye on that. Future you could have expulsion from the playoffs. So, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. You have between now and the 23rd, but then what do? You just sit there and you elevate Middlesbrough into the situation. Middlesbrough and Hull play, and then what happens? It gets litigated. Can gets kicked down the road. And that's why I don't think necessarily you're going to have the kicking out of the playoffs. I think it's just going to be a fine and something along that. But like I said, that's just me and my dime store observations. Championship clubs, by the way, according to Matt Hughes, are going to vote on rules to widen the gap in spending power to League One. This is going to be voted on Friday. Championship clubs are voting on a proposal to align with the Premier League from next season by replacing their profit and sustainability rules with a squad cost ratio system that would cap spending on player costs at 85% of football revenue. The cynical side of me would go parentheses. We've seen how successful that has been. Proposed change would permit an annual equity injection of about £10 million to count toward a club's revenue and increase spending capacity, where under P&S rules, profit and sustainability rules, losses are capped at £39 million in the championship over the 3-year period. I'm guessing Leicester would probably vote in the affirmative on this. League One clubs are voting on whether to have greater alignment with League Two by reducing permitted spending under the salary cost management protocol from 60% to 50% of turnover. Number of League One owners wanted to further by introducing salary cap underpinned by a so-called luxury tax for clubs breaching it, but the proposals will not be put to a vote. A reduction in the protocol limit is seen as a compromise. Clubs in the division largely in agreement over the need to reduce costs. Average investment by League One club owners in England, £9.6 million, up from £2.6 million 4 years ago. Many owners reluctant to continue bankrolling such losses. A League One source told The Guardian controlling costs would increase the value of clubs in that division in the medium term, lead to a greater interest from potential buyers with the ultimate goal of bringing more external capital into the EFL. That's on Friday. Remember, today in Vancouver, you were supposed to have the vote, or at least the gathering of First Nations and Victor Montaliani and Vancouver individuals and powers that be, and possibly Whitecaps individuals, about trying to figure out BC Place, maybe come out of there with a memorandum of understanding over the next 5 years to figure out, okay, are the Whitecaps going to stay in BC Place? Do they get to build their place out in the suburbs? Are they going to get help from First Nations? All of those things. So we'll keep an eye on that in Vancouver today. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the things that are attached to that. So if we go here, let me see if there's anything else I've missed. And literally, I was writing highlight. We got rule changes in the NCAA I've got to get into before we go. Once again, Racing Louisville might be looking for owners to take percentages, but not take controlling interest. Anthony Gordon looks like he's out the door at Newcastle. Michael Carrick once again, and a longer halftime show for the World Cup final. I'm not surprised. So let's check headlines and see what else is going on. Howard Webb on Arsenal's VAR call says it was a clear foul. The audio is out, and it seemed like there were times where the VAR was trying to muddy the waters and have center ref focus on other things instead of the hand grab and the foul on the keeper. And so go back and look at it. It's fully posted. It's about 4.5 minutes. But it looked like at times VAR was trying to have them focus on other things instead of the actual foul, which to me was a foul, and it wasn't. There wasn't that big of a discussion. It seemed pretty much more like a slam dunk thought for all of those. For those of you who care, Cristo Fernandez signed with El Paso Locomotive in USL Championship. Don't know how it's going to look. El Paso has had issues scoring. Will he help on the wing? After a 2-month trial period, we will see. Rumors. Manchester United plotting a move for Real Madrid midfielder Federico Valverde, according to the Mirror. Los Blancos looking at a possible exit. Following his training ground altercation with teammate Aurelien Tchouameni, Manchester United monitoring Valverde's situation as they draft up options to improve their central ranks, linked with several players in the summer already. Newcastle leading Liverpool in the race to sign Monaco midfielder Lamine Camara, according to Team Talk. The 22-year-old Senegal international has had 70 Ligue 1 appearances since making the switch from Metz in 24, looking to bolster their midfield ranks this summer, meeting Newcastle amid talks of an exit for Sandro Tonali in the transfer window. Hansi Flick, and we send our love to, obviously, Hansi Flick and his family. Barcelona boss Hansi Flick has made it clear he wants to make Marcus Rashford's loan move for Manchester United a permanent in the summer. Once again, this is Team Talk. Rashford has a €30 million permanent clause in the loan arrangement, but it's got to be activated by June 15th. Unclear if a different structured deal would be negotiated instead. Flick has made an internal plea for the forward stay to be extended one way or the other. Manchester City won a fee of €70 million for the transfer of Omar Marmoush if he is going to exit this summer. Football Insider says that Pep's Guardiola's side not prepared to make a loss on the Egypt international, who moved for that fee from Eintracht Frankfurt in January of 25. He's just played over 600 minutes. Villa is a possible suitor. Benfica boss Jose Mourinho final negotiations over a return to Real Madrid as their coach, according to the BBC. We've been discussing this over the last couple of days. He's now closing in on the role. The release clause worth €3 million in the contract set to be triggered. Unbeaten in the league under Mourinho, meaning Benfica. Third with 11 draws in 33 games as Porto won the title. We'll talk about this with our buddy Nino Torres tomorrow. Saturday's clash with Estoril Praia. Final game of the campaign for Benfica. Mourinho is expected to make the switch back to the Bernabeu. Nicolas Shearer. Juve preparing to offer Manchester City midfielder Bernardo Silva a deal until 28 with an option to extend until 29. Ekrem Konur. Arsenal and Chelsea monitoring Como center back Jacobo Ramon, but Ramon has a clause in his original transfer from Real Madrid that allows the club to re-sign him for a set fee and a 50% clause for any future move, which complicates a deal. Porto are the latest team to be linked with a free move for Robert Lewandowski. That's from Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Luciano Geertruida won't stay at Sunderland beyond his loan deal. The defender set to return to RB Leipzig. That is also from Plettenberg. Coritiba winger Lucas Ronier, monitored by Spurs and by Fulham ahead of a move this summer. That's from Ekrem Konur. Benfica eyeing up a move for Marco Silva if Jose Mourinho goes. That's from Football Insider. Sport. Atletico de Madrid looking at Ferran Torres and Lee Kang-in as possible successors to Antoine Griezmann when he leaves the club at the end of the campaign. Real Madrid's Brahim Diaz spent 3 years on loan at AC Milan and has been linked with a return to the Serie A with Juve. That's from Tuttosport. David Alaba is a transfer target for Juve. The defender set to become a free agent in the summer. And from the three-letter paper, Manchester United are looking at giving veteran keeper Tom Heaton a new contract with the 40-year-old's deal expiring this summer. Once again, that's from the three-letter paper. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and see how busy the day is here. Obviously, everything in Major League Soccer, 14 matches. BN, Libertadores, and Sudamericana. Keep your ears peeled for a new Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show from our friend Howard Hamilton. Should be released in a bit. Doubleheader, Libertadores, 6 and 10. Sudamericana, River Plate and Bragantino is at 8:30. You can get that at BN. And you can get that at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. You get all the things with the Fanatis. You get all the BNs, and I mean all the BNs, which means you get Polish League, Turkish League, French League, French Cup. You get everything out of Africa and the Middle East. You get AFCON, you get CAF, you get Champions League, you get qualifiers. You get Sudamericana, you get Libertadores. You get, at Fanatis, you get Copa Argentina from our team, from our friends at TSE. You get CDO out of Chile. You can add TVV out of Venezuela if you want. You get Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru. You get a lot of the A and B divisions in other nations in South America, all on Fanatis at ftz.co/soccer down here. Boise and Naples in League One tonight, CBS Sports Network. That's at 9 o'clock. Doubleheader on FS1. Charlotte and NYC, San Diego and Austin, which means 7:25 and 9:50. Premier League today, it's the makeup game, Manchester City, Crystal Palace, 3 o'clock on USA. ESPN Deportes, doubleheader in La Liga, 1 and 3:30. Fox Deportes Copa do Brasil at 6. And then they're going to blend into the MLS coverage that they would simulcast. Apple TV, all the matches in Major League Soccer. La Liga triple header on the Plus, or 3 matches available on the Plus. 1, 3:20, and 3:30. Fox ONE has Copa do Brasil and MLS. Fox Soccer Plus has a business fan special starting right now with Forge and Supra. Paramount Plus, Copa Italia, League One playoffs begin there at Stockport County and Stevenage, and Boise and Naples in League One at 9. Women's side, ESPN Plus, English Super Leagues at 2 o'clock with Arsenal and Everton. So that is the rundown of all of the things, I think. I'm going to keep an eye on, and obviously we'll hang on to the salary figures and all of that stuff. I've got that circled. Oh, rule changes, NCAA. That's what I wanted to get into because I've got my list here. Hang on just a second. Oh, and also research from the Sport and Fitness Industry Association, according to our friends at Sportico, shows that soccer participation in the U.S. is up 15.8% in outdoor soccer, reaching 16.8 million Americans. Indoor soccer grew to 6.6 million people, up 10.5%. So very, very, very cool stuff there. Now, NCAA_PR. Now, rule changes. Next year, see if I can find them here. Teams are going to have 2 video challenges in men's and women's soccer. This comes out yesterday. This came out after the show ended yesterday. When video review is used in the 26-27 academic year, coaches can make 2 video challenges a match. So I guess we're going to the whatever flavor card you want to show. Division I Men's Soccer Oversight Committee, Division I Women's Soccer Oversight Committee, D2 and D3 Playing Rules Oversight Panels approve the rule changes. Each coach can make a maximum of 2 challenges at any point in the game. In the first 80 minutes, officials can initiate video review only for clock issues and to see whether the ball crossed the goal line. In the final 10 of regulation and overtime, officials can initiate video review on all allowable plays. However, officials will not initiate video review in the last 10 minutes of regulation or overtime if a team still has challenges remaining. Rationale for the rule changes to help officials get the call right, maintaining pace and flow of the game. The time for keepers to release the ball after gaining possession increases to 8 seconds next season. Officials will make an accompanying visual signal for the final 5 seconds of the count. If the keeper does not release the ball within 8 seconds, opposing teams awarded a corner. This aligns with the NCAA and international rules. Previously, keepers had 6 seconds, and if the ball wasn't released, the opposing team received an indirect free kick. Teams can now make substitutions anytime the clock is stopped in Division 2 and 3. And in all 3 women's divisions, this joins D1 men. Other rule changes. Violent behavior red cards. It is now the secretary rules editor and a designated committee that will determine acts of violent behavior too. Teams can have commercial logos on the field, 15 by 15, 2 on each half, on the field of play outside penalty areas if they do not obscure required markings. In D1 men's and women's games, when video review is used, a video match official can assist the referee. The official can be at the game site or a centralized location. 4th official will be mandatory in D1 men's and women's matches. Yellow cards given to coaching staffs charged to the head coach for accumulation purposes. Running clock is going to occur in the last 15 minutes if there's a 5-goal margin. If a player from each team is treated by medical personnel after a penalty kick is awarded, both players can remain in the game. Each red card ejection now carries its own penalty with no additional games missed for successive reds. Devices for collected data can be worn on the wrist or arm if padded or covered. And if a game is delayed by weather, there should be a maximum 3-hour wait from the scheduled start time until all clear is given to begin warmups. If a game is started, you can have a 3-hour window from the point of the first disruption to the all clear to resume play. Conferences will have oversight to extend the windows. That comes from our friends at the NCAA. So that comes from them today as well. Now, I think that's it. Hang on just a second. Let me double check. My sites and my rules and all these kinds of things. Like I said, it was great to catch up with Matt Cheeves this morning from Dalton. You're going to hear that tomorrow in Red Clay. So we'll have that going on as well. Yes, today, Scottish Premiership. Keep an eye on that because it is, if Hearts continues to win, Celtic continues to win. It is still a 1 point table heading into the last match day, which is on the weekend. So keep the beat, and if you can find ways to find Scottish, the SPFL, A, ask Jarrett, and then B, perhaps, keep an eye on it and see what else you can watch leading into the last match day coming up on the weekend. But it has the impression that it's going to be all the way to the finish in the SPFL. Let's see. Borough players are continuing to train as the club pushed the EFL to expel Southampton. That is from our friends at the Telegraph. Lyon is facing expulsion from Europe from Sam Wallace. Concerns that the French club may not have complied with the terms of the settlement with UEFA for breaking financial sustainability regulations, and it is in serious financial difficulties over the collapse of their previous controlling power. Lyon are fourth, 1 place outside automatic Champions League qualifying places, 1 point behind Lille, 1 match to play. A win would at the very least secure them a place in Champions League qualifiers, guaranteed at least a spot in Conference League. But last July, they announced sanctions against Lyon, UEFA did, as well as Chelsea and Aston Villa for breaking financial sustainability regulations, laid out a scale of penalties if the clubs were not able to comply with certain conditions over the next 4 years. Among the covenants was requirement for Lyon's ownership to inject €60 million by July 15 last year, converted into equity by October 15th. That apparently has not been fulfilled by Lyon, although we don't know how much money has been put in and don't know how close they are to wrapping that up. And so UEFA generally reluctant to eject clubs from competitions, but would have to act if Lyon is not close to that target. Club is announced further losses this week of €186 million for the second half of last year alone. And it is morning, boss. Glad you're getting home safely. Now controlled by Michel Kang and Aries Management. Let's see. And Aries Management, the principal creditor, John Textor. Textor basically has had everything collapse underneath him with all of the owners. Kang and Eagle Football Group claim that much of the losses generated by agreements that alleged Textor had entered into with other clubs in his original MCO network, meaning Botafogo of Brazil and RWD Molenbeek in Belgium. Club hope that the off-books transactions they allege, as well as Eagle Football Group's new program of austerity, will persuade UEFA to be more lenient. Clubs are effectively listening to offers for any and all players, according to those with knowledge of transfer dealings. So keep an eye out. John Textor continues to basically blow up everything he touches. So that, I think, will do it this morning here. We'll be back in 45 minutes to break down everything on Red Clay, visits to West Forsyth, visits to Walton, and we catch up with River Ridge and Savannah Arts Academy. That's coming up at noon, and we'll also let you in on the final that happened in PKs when a win isn't a win until it has to happen a second time. We'll play that for you as well coming up in 45 minutes or so. Red Clay Soccer Report presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Red Clay Wednesday rolling up around the corner. So let me see if I've got all my guests. Thanks to Jose Rodriguez, the head coach at Meadowcreek. Thanks to Bruce Wade, the head coach at Walton on the boys' side. Thanks to Dylan Butler, MLSsoccer.com. Thanks to Lauren Jones, girls head coach at Model. Thanks to Jason Park, boys head coach at Armuchee. That's a lot of folks. We got more folks coming up at noon on Red Clay Soccer Report presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Mucha Platiel, play it safe. And let me thank everybody who hopped in. I saw David and Ricky and Dell. Morning, Lokeville, and morning to the boss. I did not see the MLS review of the no goal for Atlanta, although I did see that Dax McCarty on MLS 360 thought it was one of the most horrible calls he's ever seen. So morning, David, morning, Ricky, morning, Dell, and morning, Michael Head. So I will go back and look. If we have Inside the VAR studio, I'll go back and look. Lokeville, thank you for the heads up. And we will be back in a little bit to talk about things on Red Clay Soccer Report. Thanks to all of you for hanging out. Thanks to everybody who hopped in. Thanks for everybody who tackled technology. And since it is the end of the show, that means one thing. I get to do this. Back at it, Red Clay Soccer Report coming up in about 40 minutes here on the network. Bye.
Thank you.